Hey guys, happy Sunday. I'm coming to you from a very nice sunny afternoon in Chicagoland, and it's like 50s today. I'm thrilled. Been outside already a little bit. Gonna try to spend a lot of time outside today because it's gonna get cold and snow again soon. So, anyway, I wanted to talk today about a topic that someone asked me to post about and get my thoughts about, which is the Mediterranean diet. So I wanted to just kind of start with that, talk a little bit about what I say to my patients when they ask about the Mediterranean diet, and just give you guys some information on it if you're not familiar with it, or maybe you are. There have actually been hundreds of scientific studies showing benefits of the Mediterranean diet when it goes head to head with different diets such as the standard American diet and other diets that are out there. It's been linked with reduced risk of heart disease, type 2 diabetes, Alzheimer's disease, and cancer and other conditions. So it definitely has some benefits. And in general, they found that the overall health of those that live in the Mediterranean is better than most. In fact, there are actually a couple blue zones. I don't know if you're familiar with Dan Buettner's work, his book. He wrote a book called The Blue Zones, which is where the world's healthiest populations live, and they have the highest percentage of centenarians who live the longest and the healthiest. So not just, years of life, but life in their years. They're active and they're participatory in their community and everything. Two blue zones are in the Mediterranean. One is in Sardinia, Italy. The other is in Icaria, Greece. So the Mediterranean diet is actually it's pretty varied because it's actually quite a large region of people, of countries that live in the Mediterranean, from Italy, Greece, Spain, Northern Africa, Turkey, Croatia. There's a lot of countries that actually make this up. And so, and again, they tend to be the healthiest. And so it's interesting though, because they often eat not a huge variety of fruits and vegetables because they eat what's local and what's current and what's fresh in their countries. So anyway, what does this diet consist of? So the Mediterranean diet is actually a plant predominant style of eating, including vegetables, fruits, whole grains, including things like pasta and breads, olive oil, wine, nuts, and beans. And they also include a small amount of fish, eggs, dairy, and meats, generally, depending on what region you're in. But much of the food they eat is, like I said, local and fresh, and it is predominantly plant-based. So I think there's some misconceptions, though, in the United States about what a Mediterranean diet means. So sometimes people will be drizzling their food with olive oil to make it more Mediterranean, or eating fish frequently because they feel like that's more Mediterranean. And while it's true that they do eat some animal products, generally it's in much smaller portions, like one to two times a week usually. And it's more of like a side dish, almost a garnish even oftentimes. And they generally will do that mainly on special occasions. But most of the time they're eating very fresh fruits and vegetables and not processed food at all. People ask about olive oil a lot, right? Because a lot of people have that conception that olive oil is actually healthy, and they do have that in their diet. Again, it's not in huge amounts, and when I'm talking to people about potential for weight loss, I do say generally eliminate oil or limit it as much as you can. But if you are wanting to use oil or not wanting to lose weight and you want to use it, I do recommend cold pressed extra virgin olive oil. There have been some research studies that show it may even be cardioprotective, but again, remember that it's 100% fat, it's refined, it's processed still, but it's the best kind to get is 100% cold pressed olive oil. And in the Mediterranean regions, generally they're not using tons of it necessarily. And then what about wine? So in the plant-based community, a lot of times, we know that wine can increase the risk of, or alcohol can increase the risk of cancer. So I went to the International Conference on Nutritional Medicine a couple years ago, and Dan Buettner was the speaker. And this is something that I was completely confused about, because they're talking about, oh, alcohol can promote cancer. So but they drink it almost every day. And Dan Buettner, the author of the Blue Zones, was there, and he stated that the wine that they drink tends to be have the highest counts of polyphenols in the world. So, so it tends to be healthier. So, and I don't think they're drinking wine to excess. They're sipping a glass of wine with dinner. And it's interesting, it's not just the food either. They usually have their meals with their communities. Large groups of people, family is very important to them, and they take hours to eat their food a lot of times, right? It's just like it's a whole event. And then they don't, sit down in front of the TV when they're done. They tend to go for walks after dinner, and they don't allow unhealthy stress into their lives, and they are working, and they're walking, and they're staying active. And I know in some of the communities, I believe the Blue Zone community the Blue Zone region in Okinawa, there is no word for retirement. So they just live their life, and family and community is super important too. So I think those are all things to remember. And when I'm talking to someone about a whole food plant-based diet, and they want to do the Mediterranean diet, I encourage them that's fine, and certainly I remind them, however, that it's predominantly plant-based, and if they want to have their meat or fish, I would recommend small portions, no more than 2 times per week, and then again, opt for the cold-pressed extra virgin olive oil if they're going to use oil. So anyway, happy Saturday. I hope you guys are having a great weekend, and please reach out to me if you have any questions.